So we are reading At the Dark End of the Street, Black Women, Rape and Resistance, A New History of the Civil Rights Movement from Rosa Parks to the Rise of Black Power by Danielle McGuire. And our sessions it started June 3rd and they last until July 29th. They are from 6:30 to 8.
Claudette Colvin, a 10th grade grader at Booker T. Washington High School, is arrested, not for specifically defying the laws, but for speaking her mind. Studying about Harriet, Tubman, and Sojourner Truth, Black heroes and how they broke down Jim Crow laws, and articles about racial violence and discrimination galvanized her to speak up when the bus driver ordered her to give up her seat for a white passenger who was standing. She reminded them that the city law required passengers to move only if another seat was available. She had stumped the police officers and stunned the crowd. It was her righteous indignation when she told them, "I am just as good as any other white person that's seated," and that sealed her fate. Sorry, can't see with glasses.
That's all right. It's all right. These notes are online at the National Black Feminist Book Group. You can get a copy of them and everybody can read along themselves. They're also on our Facebook event page. So, okay, Georgette.
Does anyone have a comment on a question about this?
Well, maybe let's look at your first question. Why do you think that after all the previous abuses that were common day-to-day life in Montgomery, this incident with Claudette Colvin galvanized the Black community to action?
Well, I think that it galvanized the Black community because she pointed out that what they were asking her wasn't part of the law. And I don't think anyone ever, I think, you know, when you're being harassed by police officers and bus drivers that, you know, you get really riled up, that you don't really sometimes stop to think about what it is they're asking you. But she was very provoked by her time at school and what they had learned that day. And so she was able to take a moment and realize this wasn't part of the law. And so when I think that provoked everybody to really take a step back and think about how white people during that time were making things laws off of whim and it didn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess for me, you know, everything has its boiling point or tipping point, and I think by the time they got to this stage, which was early in 1955, you know, they have been putting up with abuse. The women, particularly, have been putting up with abuse on the buses for a long time. I mean, this was an era, and it's hard for me to imagine. And I read the buses and trains in New York City all the time. But bus drivers in that era down south carried guns. Maybe they still do now, but I mean, I'd like to. I hope the bus driver is not packing a piece. But you know, there is a big sign that says, you know, it's a federal law to offend a bus driver, assault a bus driver. But back in the 1940s, when this was set, the bus drivers were carrying guns and they were stopping the buses. You know, if they told somebody to get up out of a seat and the person didn't move fast enough for them, they would stop the bus in the middle of the street, lock everybody in. You know, which I cannot imagine, and go off to find the cops. And, you know, and then come back and have a whole, they may smack you or, you know, anything. So people have been putting up with that kind of drama and trauma for decades. And, you know, enough is enough. So I think on that particular day, this young lady, you know, emboldened by what she had studied in school that day, and was just, you know, she'd had enough. So she said, you know, I'm just as good as any white person. And, you know, I mean, we believe that now, and we say that now easily. But, you know, you had to really be somebody to say something like that in 1955 Montgomery. So you know, I think they'd had enough. Vanita?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely think they had enough. They just caught her on the wrong day, maybe a warm day. Nobody was feeling it. My girlfriend, you know, I mean, let's face it. You know, she learned some new things, and it sounds kind of like myself. And I probably would have been that person that would have done what she did on a day I just didn't feel like it. So yeah, and I admire her. I really do. To be that young, you know, and to speak out, because we have a lot of people that are more mature that don't have the courage. So she had a lot of courage, and I really do think she was a girl after my heart. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Georgette, what did you think?
Yeah, I think she was a young heroine herself, especially considering, well, after they'd arrested her, then the fear set in, you know, after she was bold and she said what she had to say.
Right.
Put her in the police car, then she, you know, immediately she had to worry about being sexually assaulted or worse.
Right.
So for her to just, you know, to take that stand for herself and really for everybody else, the bus, you know, was quite remarkable. I guess it just shows you that young people have a lot more guts than old folks.
Yeah, yeah, then and now. That's for sure. It looks like we lost Rhea for a moment. I'm sure she'll be back. Um, yeah, can anybody else see her?
No,
No.
no.
Okay. Yeah, but also, with what struck me is whenever anybody asserts their equality, it seems to push somebody over the line. Whenever you assert your humanity or equality, um, somebody has a problem with it. Um, but if you mean to have your humanity or equality, then you have to be willing to put up with whatever the backlash is going to be, because backlash there will definitely be. So
Well, she definitely wasn't worried that day.
yeah,
That's for sure.
yeah,
Once again, I think she's very courageous. And wow, she did more of
yeah,
that in 2014.
yeah.